I am so happy with how this looks for the Rangers. We have a pitcher, Jack Leiter, and he is a dude.
And while I do think his hitting is worse than Derek Jeter, it's not that far off.
You're not mentioning 2006. You can mention the other people, not 2006.
Oh, just because I bought the best soap doesn't mean your room's going to be clean. It just leaves it to where I don't believe that the Canadians had a shot.
I really don't like the Clippers just kind of sending it in when they're like...
Hi, this is Kelly Forbes with the Dallas Stars, and you're listening to Outsiders' Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. This is a question talking about just kind of, I would say, players in those big-time markets that go from a small-town market, and the man with the example that I'm sure he is dealing with right now, just from a fan perspective, Austin.
Yeah, there's two examples, Kevin. You may have thought there was one. There's two. It's really the comparison between Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. Luke Weaver really had struggled for a long portion of his career in a lot of other markets, whether it was Arizona, was one of the markets he played in. He played for a couple others. And then obviously there's Devin Williams, who is known to be one of the best relievers in baseball the past couple seasons for the Milwaukee Brewers. And does playing in a smaller market, is that easier or is it harder? Or is there a reason why guys like Luke Weaver this season, 0.59 ERA. As a reliever last season with the Yankees, 2.89 ERA. Last year in the playoffs, 1.76 ERA for the Yankees. And everyone was calling for him to be our closer after the Devin Williams debacle to start the year. Finally, he's been that. And yes, he gave up a run in his last game. I think he got the loss for it as well. And he's only given up one run this year, and he got a loss for it, which I find really funny. But if we compare Luke Weaver, for example, he has 3.5 WAR for his entire career, 3.2 WAR with the Yankees, and that's him playing 10 seasons. Luke Weaver's played 10 seasons. I don't know if you know that. He's played for a while.
No,
right?
I feel like he's young, but
yeah, he's not young at all. He's 31. So. And when he was a reliever back with Kansas City, 5.59. Reliever back in Arizona, 7.71. And he was a starter for a long time, but also was a reliever in Seattle, 6.08. But yeah, he was a starter for a while. He had one good season as a starter. Maybe you could say two or three. But Devin Williams has really struggled since coming to New York, while Luke Weaver looks like an entirely new pitcher. Looks like one of the best closers in baseball when he's with New York, but everywhere else he really struggled. How do you explain that? Is it just new team jitters, or is it the confidence of having the fans behind you? What do you think it matters at all playing in a big market? I would say big market is New York, LA, and Boston. I think those are the big markets of they're more than just big market, right? They're generational markets.
There's pressure.
To play.
There's more than just natural pressure in big time moments, I would say, for those markets that you mentioned. And I do think I'm not sure if Weaver fits into the example. It could just be a guy that's been in the league and is innovating with stuff, and it finally clicks for him. I can see it with Devin Williams of going from where he dominated in Milwaukee, and no offense to Milwaukee, it's just there's not that much pressure if he blows the save. They're a small market team. It's a low stakes, I would say, compared to the Yankees where he gets traded for. And maybe he figures it out, or maybe it just doesn't work for him in the Yankees organization. That, to me, just goes to speak to the pressure that a player may put on himself. And it could also be, in defense of Devin Williams, I think last season was the Mets comeback against him, the blown save for the Mets to win.
Sure.
So maybe there's a mechanical issue with his, but it also could just be pressure. And I think another example is Joey Gallo. I think his confidence got shot in New York because he went from small market, I would say, at least in a baseball terms of sense.
I don't think small market's the right way to put it. Because the Rangers have spent a lot of money recently. I think it's more just a team that's not used to winning.
Yeah, and there's not an expectation of winning compared to LA, Yankees, and Boston. And also, didn't Lance Lynn struggle in New York?
I wouldn't say he had like it was weird because I don't know if you know this, but he was only there for he only pitched 11 games with New York, and he had a 4.14 ERA, 4.14. So I wouldn't say he was bad. I wasn't like mad when he came in the game, but he didn't pitch well in the postseason for us. But I don't know if it was necessarily he was bad per se.
But yeah, I'm just trying to think of players that haven't done well in New York, and then they go to another team and they figure it out. But yeah, I do agree. I do think some markets are harder to play in given kind of the pressure from the fans and just kind of what goes into your head, especially in baseball where it is 90% a mental game.
I'll give you my thing. I do think the Luke Weaver thing matters. And we do have good bullpen coaches. Our pitching coaches are amazing. But I think that the Yankees make bad things worse and good things great. I think the Yankees and big markets in general create outliers on both sides where they're going to get the absolute best out of some players that will never play that good anywhere else. And they'll get players that are great other places, and they will play their worst they'll ever play. They will not play worse. If Devin Williams played for the Rangers or played for any other team, I believe he would play better than he's playing for the Yankees right now. They just put a magnifying glass on everything, good or bad. And the Yankees or those other big markets, I think, are snowball organizations. If you get a good foothold in the organization, you make some big plays, right? Luke Weaver last season was amazing. In the regular season, he became our closer at the end of the year after Clay Holmes was horrible. He only stayed 4 games. But in the postseason, he was our closer, right? All the way to the World Series and pitched amazing. Sure, he gave up runs here or there, but that's what every pitcher is going to give up runs here or there. So him having a 1.76 ERA in the postseason was amazing. And I think when you do that, it helps you build your confidence because all the Yankee fans, which there's a lot of them, are going to be saying how great you are. And that increases your confidence, which helps you play better, which makes the fans love you more, which makes you play better, which grows your confidence, which makes the player it's a snowball organization. When you're playing really good for one of those small market teams, sure, the fans love you. They do. They do in every spot. The fans show up. But pitching well, like to keep it going, but it's also easier if you're pitching bad to come back from it because you're not hearing the hate. Like you should have seen the comments on the Yankees Instagram yesterday. It was on interest. It was like a Trent Grisham appreciation post because he hit a home run. He was basically all our offense in the game that he blew last night. And the comments were not nice. And it's just a lot harder to hear that from millions of fans, and it's like 1 million fans, or however many millions of fans there are for each of the smaller organizations. What were we going to say?
Yeah, kind of. I can understand that where it does snowball. My question about or uncertainty about Luke Weaver is what is the good for him? Was it just he had a good outing, so he just snowballed and was playing well?
Well, it's just consistency. And as a reliever, you want to have a good outing every time. And he was consistently doing that. I mean, again, he had a 2.89 ERA. And I think what really made it happen is when Clay Holmes started playing bad, Luke Weaver came in and closed the door. And we're like, that's our guy. That is our closer. And that creates confidence in Luke Weaver. So when that happens, it just snowballs into the fact that he's going to start playing with more confidence because the fans truly believe he's good, truly believe he's good enough. They want him in. And when you feel wanted by an organization, especially that many fans, And I think also, like, at the games, like, I think that the U.S. a little bit struggles with unpassionate or fans that are not as passionate. But Yankee Stadium is one of the most passionate, for good or for bad, right? There's times where you've seen it be bad, right? As Mookie Betts' glove gets taken off, right? It can be bad. It can. But if we just look at it as passion, when they love someone, when they truly care for a player, the player knows it. But when Devin Williams goes through one of or the Joey Gallo example, Joey Gallo was getting booed off the field. Like, it was bad. It was bad. And it's hard to come back from that. It's really hard to come back from that. So I do think that it matters both ways, because when the fans don't like you, they make it known. And that can really be hard to come out of.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you bring up. And I think you bring up a good example. And yeah, I think my answer will just be it is harder, but it's really hard to explain. I think just some players are built for it and some aren't. I don't know if you can really figure that out till you see it happen.
Yeah. I think with the Luke Weaver example, the reason why it makes a lot more sense to me it's because it was his 9th season of his career, right? Or 10th or I guess it was 9th, yeah. And his lowest ERA with any other team is 4.72. His career ERA with the Yankees is 2.64. Right? And he's pitching, he has more innings than he does in a lot of those other examples. And it just feels different. It feels different with him on the mound. And I think he has gained a lot of confidence. And then with Devin Williams, I don't know if he'll ever recover. I think it's one of the hardest things to do in sports is to come back from the fans not liking you. It's really hard to turn it around. Can you think of an example in your fandom where that has turned around for a player? Not a coach or a GM or whatever, not a Nico situation. But
like my feelings for a player?
Maybe not your feelings, but the fans don't like a certain player. Like we have a friend who doesn't like Dwight Powell, for example. That type of situation where but that it turns around and you do truly cheer for that player to have success.
Probably Josh Spores. I don't know if that's just me though, because I feel like Josh Spores is a bad relief pitcher. But I'm not going to hate him because he played incredibly well in the postseason. You could say the same thing for Jose Leclerc. Like, people were sad he left. I was like, he was not good. Trying to think. Like Val Nichushkin, I guess, for the Stars, but the Stars players don't love him. It's just he went to a different market and figured it out.
Yeah.
But like Joey Gallo, I don't think ever recovered from what happened in the Dodgers or the Yankees.
I mean, he's a pitcher now.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think he doesn't have that confidence anymore hitting. And he did have problems with hitting. I still think he would have been a good player. But if you can't that's pretty shocking he didn't make the White Sox roster.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can recover. It's pretty tough. Maybe Trey Turner, but that was kind of the fans started cheering for him.
Yeah, they did the reverse. They did the but that's a good example. But I don't know if the fans ever got to the point of hating him. I don't think they'd reached that yet. And I think the problem with baseball is there's no position in any sport like a closer. Because the closer comes in for one inning and they could throw one pitch, game over. They lost. Right? And that's it. That's the only time you get to come in. Like if you're a goalie, right, for hockey, you can make a play in the inverse, right? You give up a bad goal, but then you can make up for it later in the game because you're playing the whole game. As a closer, it's a lot harder. It's one of the hardest jobs in sports, in my opinion, mentally, because you have to be perfect. Because if you're not, it's hard to come back from because you only get so many chances. With the starters, right, if you give up a grand slam, you're fine because like next game, just play well. But with the closer, the role is so important to winning games that after a certain amount of time, it's really hard to get the confidence of the coach to put you back in. I mean, Devin Williams is not our closer right now. And I think that the fans would have Boone's head if they made him the closer again anytime soon.
Yeah, and especially in that closer role, it's very tough because you would have to just move him to a different inning to see if he can prove himself before.
And that's what they tried to do, but he struggled last game. And last game, he wasn't even a closer, and he gave up the entirety of the lead. We were up 3-0. He gave up 3 runs.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking and sad. It looked to be a really good trade.
You're telling me.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have. I'll let you close this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you guys think about the whole. Is it harder to play in a bigger market or not? Do you guys think that Devin Williams will turn around with the Yankees, or is he going to have to get traded again to find that success? Thank you.